Sanjay, for the sake of live streaming, some people would have joined YouTube. So maybe could you repeat the initial beginning? Good morning, everyone. So Sanjay, since the recording just started and the YouTube went live, could you please repeat the purpose of this session for the people who just joined? Sanjay, if you're speaking, you are probably on mute.
Okay. So this session is focused on, you can say it's like beginner friendly session. So in this session, we'll walk through a case study, and then in that case study, we'll try to solve some questions using Pyspark. So since this is a first session and also like a beginner friendly session, so whatever code is there, it will be run using local environment in Jupyter Notebook. In case if you already have Azure Databricks installed, I mean the web version account is created, and if that is something which you already have access to, then you can even do the session on that as well. So there are no constraints with respect to where you can do, because in this session we'll be working on couple of CSV files. So the environment doesn't matter. The main focus will be on the PySpark. Okay, can someone summarize what the case is all about? Yeah.
Hi, Chandra. So basically, this is a firm that firm Innovative Solution Inc. and the data is distributed. So because of distributed data, the leadership is unable to take decisions, and they are finding several anomalies in different parts of the company, be it HR, be it your hiring perspective, and be it finance related queries, everything. And they are majorly facing decisions in taking. They are majorly facing challenge in taking any decision, because they even to get the simplest data requirement, it's taking a lot of time. So their simple ask is to have someone which can make us some centralized data ingestion or data ingestion via which they can answer out several decisions which they are required day in day out to take some informed and strategic decisions out of it. That's the high level ask which I understood from this video, and for
Yes.
which we have two CSVs given out from there. Yep.
Yes, perfect. So yes, just to summarize what you just told. So there is a company, like a imaginary company, fictitious innovative solutions, which is trying to get some insights on the data which they have. Since it's a beginner friendly session, the case study was kept very simple. So only two files you have to deal with, and that also like two CSV files, which I'll be sharing very shortly. And basically, you will be playing the role of a senior data analyst in the newly formed people analytics team, where the objective is to deliver some of the things which the leadership and HR and finance has asked. And so as part of the CSV files, which I'll be sharing shortly, so this will be the structure of the CSV files. Simple ones, departments like 3 columns. This one will have 5 columns. And coming to the deliverables. So during this session, we'll try to solve 15 questions from 1 to 15, whatever are there. So depending on the time and depending on how long it takes, and also Q&A, everything put together. So this will be a guided session. So we'll be doing in the session itself. In case, let's say you don't have the environment ready, or in case if you are facing any challenges, you can always refer to the recording or on YouTube. And in addition to that, you'll also be given an assignment. So in that assignment, you have to solve close to 30 questions and one bonus question as well in case you want. And these are the guidelines for the assignment. Of course, I will not be evaluating it because of this is like a pro bono. So you can do a self-evaluation. So for self-evaluation, this will be the criteria. So like you can just cross-check with the code which you have based on the criteria which is available here. You can always share it in the group based on the time availability. People will get back, and this will be the learning outcomes. Like if you are able to go through the guided session, and also if you are able to solve those 30 questions, so you will be in a position to understand the basics of data frame, aggregation, window functions, user defined functions, and you will be even able to translate the business questions into Pyspark code. So that is the overall high level overview on the case study. So do you have any questions before we move forward?
Now, one small doubt, Chandra, is this Pyspark is totally different from the libraries we have in Python, like NumPy, Pandas. Is it different from that, totally different, or is it a mix of them only?
It would be like very similar, I would say. If you know NumPy and Pandas, then learning PySpark won't be that much of a challenge. It will be little different. So the best way how I can describe this is, imagine you know American English and you have British
Mhm.
English. If you know American English, then easily you can understand British English. It's a variation. But again, there is a slight nuance here. When you normally use NumPy, Pandas, Seaborn, and all these things, these are
Mhm.
something which you generally use for data science and you do it. But when you talk about big data, here PySpark is just like the code which you run to get the outcomes. But behind PySpark, you have the Spark engine. So you need to know what is Spark, what are clusters. You need to know the architecture of Databricks. So behind the scenes, there will be a lot of concepts which you need to learn. And in addition to the general coding, you also will have concepts on performance. How do you optimize partitions? So a lot of extra things will be there. Since this is a beginner session, first I am focusing only on the coding part. So this session will not talk about PySpark, like the Spark architecture and all those other details which are needed. So if you ask me, like if you already know Pandas and NumPy, PySpark 50% you already know. Remaining 50% you have to learn regarding the technicalities, like how the Spark engine works, what are the limitations, how do you optimize the performance, and how do you handle streaming data, batch data, like different types of data. And you have like medallion architecture, which is there on Databricks. How do you use Unity catalog? Those all other things will be remaining 50%.
Understood. Yeah, we can go ahead.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay. Okay, fine. So let us get started now. So those who are already using Jupyter Notebook, like I think you'll be already familiar. So here what we are doing is we are trying to start a local Spark session. So first you have to do the pip install here, and then you have to start the kernel. In case you already started your notebook, you have to restart the kernel. And first we'll try to import. So I will get into this little later, but first I want to show you like how PySpark works, and those who are familiar with NumPy and Pandas. So first I want you guys to know like how it actually works. So for example, there are two files which I told you, right? So let me share those files here. Sorry, one second. These are the two files which are there. Okay, so let's say I want to read the file. Okay, let's say I want to read file. So what files are there? There is an employee file and then there is a department file, right? So I will say employees underscore df. Now what is df? Df is a data frame. Like generally when we give a notation, we will say employees underscore df because we are trying to have a data frame, like there is a concept of RTD data frame, lot of things are there. I will not get into technical details, but I'll just show you how this works so that later you can learn theory and catch up. So once you do hands-on, you'll get a flavor like how it works. Then if you go back to theory, it makes sense. So I will say employees underscore df. I will simply say spark.read.csv and my file name is employees.csv. Okay. And then I will say, like once this is done, I will try to say, yeah, any question? Okay. I will say employees underscore df dot show. Now here, if you can see, what I did was I have assigned one, you can say like a name here. And what I did was, this is my CSV file. I loaded the data of CSV into something called employees underscore df. Now, in order to read this file, because this file is locally there on my system and I have to read it. So what I did was I said spark.read.csv and then followed by the file name. So here I have to use a like double quotes inside this. And imagine if I just read it and run it, you will not find any output because I'm just reading the file. Now, after reading the file, I'm just saying employees underscore df dot show. And when I click enter, I mean shift enter, then you will get this output, like what, like this output you will get. So here you can notice one thing, the headers are saying C0, C1, C2, C3, C4, etc. And the actual headers are there on the first row. So that means this is a CSV file which has headers and your actual data starts from the second row itself. So from here. Now, in order to have the headers, what I will do is I will try to say CSV, like here I have this. Now here I will say header equal to true. Now I'll enter. Now you can see my header got promoted to, sorry, my first row got promoted to headers. Now my headers are coming properly. If I don't include this directly, if I just do this, my headers will be here. So it will assume that my headers are like by default these C0 to C4 if I don't mention that. So again, if I just mention that and run, this is what it will show. Now this is our employee data. Now on a similar lines, I will try to do for the departments as well. I will say departments underscore df equal to spark.read.csv, and here I will say departments.csv, and I will say header equal to true, and then I will say show. Now this is my departments file. Again, here also I have used headers. So this is how I'm able to display what data I have, right? So I have read the file. So this line is for reading and I'm mentioning my header is true. And then I'm using a show command for the data to just have a preview of the data. Okay, so any questions so far? Okay, fine. So this is done. The next thing is, let's try to go back to the case study, right? So this is our case study and we have to solve some questions. So what is the first question? It says, find all employees who earn more than 1,40,000 or 140K, right? So what should I do? Let's say if you are in Excel, let's imagine you have this table. Imagine this table, you have it in Excel. Now, if you are in Excel, how will you get the data where you have salary greater than 14,000? Or let's say SQL or Excel, whatever.
We will
Exactly.
write select employee name, select all, select employee name from X table having salary greater than, or where salary greater than 14,000. So we can have those records.
Great. Yes. So that's how you will do, right? Now we will apply a filter. Now, even if you are in Excel also, you will click on the filter for that column and there you will apply a value filter. There is a text filter and value filter. You will click on value filter and you will say greater than. Then you will be able to do it. Now, can someone tell me where is our employee data stored in this? It is stored here, right? Employees underscore df.
Yeah, in a data frame.
Exactly. So we have to apply the filter there. So we have to apply filter for this. So what I will do is here I will type employees underscore df. Now this is the data frame which I have where the data is actually stored. Now I'll simply say dot filter, and now what I need is I have a hiring date, right? I have to, sorry, I have this, you can say salary, right? This one salary. So this one I have to give a greater than condition, greater than 140K. So what I will do, I will say filter. Then I also need to make sure. So I will say first I will try to write directly and then you will see an error. Then I will try to correct it. Okay. So I will say filter salary is greater than this number, right? And then I will put show directly. I'm putting show. Now if you see there is an error, right? Okay, I think let me save my file. This is an issue in the Mac. Okay, so here if you see there's an error. It says salary is not defined. Now by default what happens is Pyspark cannot directly identify your column just like that. So here what I did, I said data frame, I said dot filter and I gave a condition. But the problem is it's not recognizing my column. So in order for the Pyspark to recognize the column, I have to do two steps. Now let's do one thing. I will say call and then I will say salary. And now let's see if it will still give the error as far as I know. Yeah. So again, it is giving an error. So what we have to do, we have to import some functions. So instead of importing like one by one, what I did was in the beginning itself, I imported all the functions as F. So here what I will do is all my functions are stored in F. So what I am going to do is I'll say F dot call, and then I'll say show. Now it is actually working. So if I simply say, instead of this, if I simply say salary, sorry, 1 second, it will not work. Even if I say call of salary, still it will not work. The problem is the functions are not imported. So I'm not giving a reference to the function. So in order to get the reference of the function, I have imported them as F. And here I will give the same reference. I'll say F dot call. So call is like one of the functions which we are importing. And now when I run the query, it will work. So whenever you get an error like that, you have to make sure that you're importing the right functions. Now, how do you import the functions? Using this from pyspark.sql import functions as F. Why we are doing it? Because it will be easy to reference that. Instead of typing the entire thing, we can simply put a shortcut for that. So is it clear?
I have a question, Sanjay.
Okay.
Here you imported one function called SQL.types import string type. Okay. And
Correct.
there are multiple types. Okay. So for multiple types, you have to import multiple functions like that.
Yeah.
Like
You have
import.
to,
Okay.
yes. You have to import. I just kept like a sample code like that just to show the syntax. Yeah, you have to do it like int type, string type for date and time and all those you have to do.
Got it.
Yeah. See, when it comes to syntax of PySpark, there are multiple ways in which you can write the syntax. Now, one of the biggest confusion I have even today is I know a little bit of pandas and I also know PySpark. Sometimes I get confused between the syntaxes because there is a slight difference in the syntax. Sometimes even I get confused. Okay, should I use, like, for example, Aishwarya asked a question, should I use a square bracket, should I use call, should I use this, should I use that? Even I have that confusion for that matter because both are very similar to each other. So generally with PySpark what happens is we generally go with call function, or there is also one more function where we define the schema called struct field. First we'll define the schema with that and then we will call the columns using call. So that is generally what people follow. Again, it depends, like you can directly refer the columns as well, but generally the recommended one is column of so and so name. Okay, fine. Now let's talk about the next question. So first question is solved. Now what is the second question? Select only the employee's name, salary and hire date and rename employee name to name. So basically they are asking to rename the column here. Okay, so three things. We need name, salary and hire date. So whatever name column is there, we have to rename it to from employee underscore name to name. Okay, let's see how we can do that. So here what I will do, I will say employees underscore df. Okay, here there will be a small confusion for you. Remember, even though we solved this question, we haven't assigned this to anything. So we are just doing an operation on this. So just because we have filtered the data here doesn't mean that this value will change. Now imagine if I say employees underscore df equal to, again if I do that, then the value will be replaced. Then only I'll get the values where salary is more than this. But in this step, I didn't assign anything. I didn't put any equal to operator. So my employee underscore df will still have the original data. So it will still have the data which has all types of salaries. Now here what I'm doing, I'm taking that original one which is there. So I'll say employees underscore df, and then I will say select. Now which columns I have to select? F dot call. I will say employee underscore name. Then I will say f dot call. Then I will say salary. Then comma. Then I will say f dot call, and then I will say hire underscore date. Let's see if that is the underscore name, hire underscore date. Then I will also put the salary. Okay, which order did did they ask? Salary. Okay, name, salary, hire date. Okay, name, salary, hire date. And then what I will do is I'll simply say show. So first I'm trying to, okay, I think it's jumping. Let me refresh. Okay, now if you see, it is actually showing the data here. But what do I need? What did the question say? I need to select the 3 columns and I have to rename also, right? I have to rename this column. So to rename, what I will do, I will say alias name. So this is basically an alternative name which I'm giving, and I will say this. Now instead of saying employee underscore name, it is saying name. Now there are also some functions called with column renamed. There are different ways to do this. I just introduced to you the concept of alias here. Of course, there are multiple ways to achieve it because it's there are many functions, but this is one of the ways to showcase your name in a different way for a column name. So here if you notice, it's very simple to understand. Here I wanted only few rows, so I have done a filtering. So I said filter and I gave a condition. Here I want only few columns. So instead of using filter, I use select. So here, as you know, like table will have rows and tables also will have columns. If you want to select few columns, you go with select. If you want to select only few rows, you go with filter, because filtering will work top to bottom, select will work from left to right. So whenever someone says, okay, can you filter these columns and give only this, then you go with select. If someone says, okay, I have 100 rows of data, I want only 50 rows, then you will go with filter. That's a simple way to understand this. And whenever you're referring to columns, you can say f dot call and you can refer to all the column names. And then if you want to show it, you just say dot show. Instead of having two step, like I can write like this also. I can say, now imagine what will happen. Now I will not tell you the answer. Now if I say employees underscore df and show, what will come?
The original data from employee pool.
Exactly. Original data will come. So again, what I have to do, I have to say emp like selected column, some name I'm giving. I have to assign this. Then whatever I'm assigning here, I have to select that and say show. Instead of doing all of that, what I'm doing, I'm just going with the original flow. Instead of again creating one new data frame and doing it, I'm just saying dot show here itself. Instead of going with 2 steps and creating a new data frame and all, I'm directly doing it here, right? Okay, I think, okay, let me just rerun this and then go back because I have rerun that. Now I'm back to the original one. Okay, what is the next question? So before I move to the next question, anything you want to ask, or did you got? Can I move ahead?
All those who got it, can you please type 1 in the chat box?
Yeah. Okay. Now let's talk about the third question. I think a lot of ones are there. Okay. Now what they are saying, find the employees who were hired in the year 2022, right? Now I'll just minimize this. Let's try to see what they're asking. Let's go back to the original data frame. Now here, if you look at this, they are asking us to filter based on the hiring date. Now hiring date, what is this hiring date in which format? These are all dates, right? Now they're asking to filter by year. So year is here. These are all the years. But here we are not just having the years, we are also having month and days as well. So let's try to see how we can filter that. I will say employees underscore df, right? And then I will say filter like how we did before. And now I will say f dot call, and I will try to select the column name. Now what is the column name? Hire underscore date, right? Hire underscore date. Now here what will happen if I try to, okay, here two concepts I want to explain. Whenever you are equating anything in Pyspark, you have to use two equal tos. And now I'll try to equate it to 2, I'll get an error. So I'll try to say show. Now you will see I'll encounter an error. The reason why error came because I'm trying to equate an year, but here my column is having a date. So it's not able to equate, and it is like I'm giving a number and then this is a date. So there's a type mismatch. Now how do we solve this? So again, like when we talk about Pyspark, like I mentioned, there are multiple ways. An easy way to solve this is, one method which I can show you is, instead of going with call, you can also do this as well. Because earlier I think Aishwarya asked, can we directly refer the column? So let's say if I say dot year, because this is a function, I'm trying to get the year, and then I will say hire underscore date. And then if I say show, I'll be able to get all the employees who are hired in 2022, right? So what I did, I'm just picking the year. It is similar to SQL. So you will have a date column, and if you want to pick a particular year, then you'll write that syntax. So here the syntax is, instead of referring to call dot hire date, directly I have referred by saying f dot year. And then, so this is a function here. So just like how call is a function, column, col call, here year is also a different function altogether. So I'm trying to extract the year from the column called hire underscore date, and then I'm equating it. So that's how I'm able to get all the employees who are hired in 2022. Now let us see the next question. List employees ordered by hire date and with the most recent hires first. So basically the question is asking to get the employees in descending order based on the hire date and show only the 5 employees, right? So what I will do, I will say employees underscore df, then I will say order by, and then I will say f dot call, I will say hire underscore date, and I will say descending, then I will say show. Now what? Okay, I'll just save and refresh. Okay, now I'll say show. Now here because I said show, it is showing everything, but what I need, I only need top 5. I'll say show 5 and I'll click OK. Now I got my recently hired people. So what I did, here I used filter, here I used select, here I'm using order by, and then I said f dot call and then hire date, and I asked it to use descending order, and then I'm saying show. Now I don't need all the people, all the 20, I mean, it by default will show 20. I don't want everything. I want only 5. So specifically, explicitly, I have mentioned 5. And I got the most recent hires. Okay. Okay, if you understood, if I can go next, just type 2 in the chat box. Okay. Now, please read this question. The 5th question, how many employees are in each department? Right? That is the next question. Now, can someone tell me, looking at how the data is, can someone tell me how can we solve 5th question? I just need the logic. I'm not asking syntax.
By merging two
Joins.
tables.
By
merging two tables.
exactly.
Joins.
No, not group by. First you have to join.
Join. First you have to
After you
join.
join, then you do the group by. Group by
Group
is
by.
correct. But first step is you have to join.
Right.
So okay, now tell me, how do you join? Based on what?
Based on department ID.
Correct. So department ID is common in both the tables. So you will use department ID as the common column to do the join, and then you will do the group by. Okay, now how do you do a join in Pyspark? That's the next question. So what I will do is I'll try to create a new data frame which is combined. I will say employee department underscore df. So this will be like a joined data frame. So I will say first I will say employees underscore df dot join. So here what did I do? Here I did order by filter like that. There is a option called join, and here I will say I want to which table I want to join. I mean which data frame I want to join. I want to join the departments underscore df, right? Now what do I want to join? Like based on which column?
Department ID.
Department ID.
Exactly. So I will say department underscore id dot departments equal to department underscore id dot department, sorry, 1 second. So I will just, okay, this employees underscore df. Now which join I have to apply?
Inner join.
Yeah, inner also you can apply. Let's say inner. Okay. Okay, now what I need now, I'll just try to run this. I may get an error. Let's see. Now tell, okay, 1 second. I think it's a syntax error. Let me check that once. Okay. I think equal to, I have to put double. Now there's an error. I think, let me check.
Data frame dot department ID.
Where?
Data frame first. Data frame first, then column.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah. Second. This is, sorry. So first I will select the data frame and then department. Now I'll run it. Now it is not giving me anything because I haven't given a show or print, right? Now if you see what happened, I got everything. Now if you see there is a duplicate, right? 2 times department ID is coming. So how do I, like what should I do next? I need to drop one of the department ID columns, right? So what I
You
will
have to do group by.
Drop.
I have to do a drop. So here what I will do, even before I do the show, first let me drop it. Sorry. Second, save and reload it. So here I will say drop, and inside the drop I will mention this thing, right? And then I will try to say show. Now I have the combined table right here. So what did I do? I'll just explain. So first I have actually taken a new name for this employee department df. First I applied a join. So this is the table I want to join, and then I have given the equation. Like here what I said was I want to join based on department ID column. Now here you have to give data frame first and then the column name, data frame, column name, and you have to use double equal to. And then I'm using an inner join, and after applying the inner join to remove one of my duplicate columns, I just said drop. So that's how I got a combined table. Now we have a combined table. Now tell me, how do we solve the 5th question? Next, what should we do?
Doing a group by department.
Exactly. So what I will do, I will do the group by now. I will say emp department underscore df. So let me copy this. I'll say group by. Then I will say department underscore name, and I will say count. And 1 second, wait. Let's see what is the error. Okay, I need to import this. So group by, I did not import it yet. Now, can someone tell me how do I import group by?
Go to the first cell where you imported all the functions,
Correct?
and then you import that.
Okay, now quickly tell me how do you import group by? So do any one of you have Spark documentation? I want to get you to used to how to do debugging as well. So there is something like if you just go to Google and say Pyspark documentation, you'll get it. So in that documentation, you'll have everything, right? In real time, generally what happens is whenever you get any error, you will try to troubleshoot. In case you are not able to find an answer, either, of course, like you can say, why not go to Chat GPT or Google? But the problem is not every company allows the Gen AI tools, right? Some companies allow it, some companies don't allow it. So in case, let's say you don't have Gen AI, let's say you don't have Chat GPT or Copilot, then what will you do? The only place which you can refer to is the documentation, right? So how many of you have seen Pyspark documentation? How many of you have seen Pyspark documentation? No, you didn't. Okay. Okay, majority of you are saying no. Okay, so first thing which you have to do is whenever you get any error, okay, for example, an error like this, try to see if there is an error code. Generally, you will have what we will have is this is the error which you get, and sometimes you may get like you sometimes you will get a error code, sometimes you will not. I mean, this is common for any tool. So first try to see where the error is. Like here it is saying the error is actually coming from here. And then it is saying none type object has no attribute group by. So this is the attribute error which is coming. Now, how do you resolve this? Now, if you any of you are already working in a field of data or generally on any tools, how do you generally approach it when you have an error? What will be your first step when you see an error like this?
Either we know it, either if we don't know it, we Google it and then we get some idea to what to fix in it.
Okay,
Stack flow.
correct. So Stack Overflow is like very popular. After Chat GPT came, yeah, the traffic and everything has declined. But generally, this one is the Stack Overflow is very popular. Anything which you get in Stack Overflow, you will generally have the you can say lot of answers you will get, like lot of questions will be there. There again, some questions will be solved, some questions will not be resolved. So can someone try doing a debugging here? Can someone help me? Can someone tell me how do I debug this?
Rahul, Shruti, Aishwarya.
You just go and paste this error in Google. You will get linked regarding that.
Okay, good.
Uh,
That is the first step. Yeah. Yes. Anyone?
from the documentation, I found this statement named pyspark.pandas.groupby.groupby. Would that work?
Yeah. You can like there are UDFs which are there, and this also, yes, you can. That is also there. But again, yeah, you can bring pandas, not like you cannot bring. But yeah, any other way?
Pyspark.sql, from that library, we can import the functions.
But I already imported right here. So where is the error coming from? Already it is imported.
Okay.
So how do you debug? Because this is where a lot of learners generally, when you get stuck, how do you get out of that place? How do you debug? That's a very important skill to have.
We are taking functions for functions alias as f, so we have to call group by based on that f.
So how do you do that?
F dot group by.
Do you think that will work? Okay, let's try. Okay, let's give it a try. It's not working. Now how do you solve this?
Can we try f dot data frames dot group by? Because I read the documentation. It says that we have imported Pyspark.sql as f. Now it needs data frame dot group by.
Okay.
I think F is not required function.
Exactly.
It's
Not needed actually. Yeah.
directly we can run it.
It seems to be a problem with data frame.
Okay. So what is the problem in the data frame?
Data
So
frame is
here it is showing, right? Here it is showing. Okay, let me put like show. So it's not working, right? Data frame.
Yeah.
So what is the issue here? Why it's not working?
I think you already assigned the dot show function at the end, so it's just working and it's not storing.
Okay, let me remove this. So, okay, let me run this and let me say exactly, right? Yeah. So that's you can say that's like the solution for this. So basically what we did was we wrote show there. So we are directly displaying the data frame and then we assigned it. That's why the error is coming. You have to remove the show there. So did everyone got why the error came? So what happens is sometimes you have to be very clear about like what steps you are actually taking. Like sometimes we write a code, we will see an error, then we'll think, okay, maybe we forgot to import something. It sometimes you'll not, I mean, sometimes you'll not even expect that, okay, this is how we have to solve it. Like for example, I think Harsha, you went to the documentation and you said you need to use data frame pandas and all. I said, no, it's not needed. So you have to be clear with like what the error is and you have to go and trace back like where that error is. Of course, if you have Gen AI tools, you can solve it very easily, but even without Gen AI tools, you should have the ability to go to documentation and understand what's happening. So for example, in this session, like how many, like 30 plus people are there. Only one person answered saying that we have done show that has to be removed. Right? So that debugging skill is something which is very, very important because in day to day, you will get a lot of errors without even you knowing, like because you'll be writing lot of code and in between you'll get stuck. And of course, there'll be seniors who will be helping you, architects will be there, leads will be there. But again, you should have the ability to solve it at your desk itself. Then if you cannot solve, then you have to go. If you depend some, I mean, if you keep depending on someone, you'll always be depending on someone. Then you will not go to the senior level positions. So that is the thing which I wanted to discuss here. Okay, fine. I got this data frame now. Now, how will I solve the next? How will I solve the question? I'll say group by. So let's go back to the original ask which was there. So I will say department name, right? Count. So one second, just jump in. Let me please refresh. Okay. Now did I get the count of department here? So what did I do? First, I joined two tables and I created one new data frame. After joining, I did a group by and then I used count. Now in SQL, we use count star, right? Asterisk inside. So here you don't need that. You will just say this and then I said show and I'm able to see the aggregated count. So if you understood everything under here, just type 3 in the chat box. Okay. Now read the sixth question. Now you guide me. How do I solve sixth question? Now you already know enough concepts to actually solve the sixth question. Now tell me how will you solve the sixth question? A little bit syntax here and there, I'll help you with that, but tell me the overall logic. How will you solve sixth question?
So we
Same
can
group
apply
by.
same group by department, and we have to apply max, min, and average functions on the salary column itself.
Correct. So first let's apply group by. First let's try to apply group by. Okay. So after group by, what should I do?
Sum of
Do
salary.
aggregate.
So here what we'll do is we use something called aggregate AGG, and here we'll say f dot average. So what did they say? Salary, right? So salary, f dot average salary. And now you have to give an alias, right? Because you're aggregating. So obviously you need to give an alias. So here I will say average underscore salary maybe. And then I'll put comma. Then I will do f dot max. So instead of average, I will do the max. I'll just copy that. So here I will say max. And here what I will do, I'll say max underscore salary. Then what should I do? Again, I have to do for min, right? I'll say min. And then what should I do? This is min, right? So here I got the answer, right? Now the question is, in average, it is showing it is showing so many decimals. Now what should I do next to get proper out?
Round function.
Float.
Round function.
Exactly. So I will apply round function for average. So I will try to say round. Okay. And here I will probably put up to 2 decimals, and then I'll try to end. Okay, 1 second. I ran into an error. Let me check where the issue is. Let me, okay, 2. Okay, average is not defined, so I have to, okay, I think I have to put inside this. I have to just adjust this. Okay, I think somewhere I went wrong. Okay, let me remove round function first. Let me just get the query correctly first. I think somewhere. Okay, this is coming. Now I'll try to apply round function. I will say round. Here I will put f dot average, and then I will put 2. I think now it will fix. Yeah, earlier I missed to put f here. That's why the error came. I'll just put this, and now I got this one. To make it uniform, let's say you want 2 decimals everywhere. Then again, you can just copy this like round, and you can put it for everything. Right, for minimum and maximum also, if you put, you can get it like a uniform formatting, 2 decimals for everything by default. Okay, this is done. Now the next question is asking about what is the total salary budget for the entire company. Now how do I get this? So what should I do to solve the 7th question?
We can sum up the total salary. We can sum up the total salary that we have. That is the total salary we are giving it for the entire.
Okay, so first tell me. Okay, first tell me what should I use? Should I use employee department DF, or should I use which table, which data frame?
Employee department.
Yeah, employee data frame is enough.
Data frame and some salary.
Employee data frame is enough, because if you go back and see, just employee data frame is enough. I don't have to use the joined one. Correct. So here itself I can get the total salary, right? So I'll take this one. I'll copy. So I'll say employees underscore DF. Now what I need to do? I need to aggregate, right? Dot AGG. I'll say f dot sum. So salary column. Then I have to do alias, because I'm doing a sum. Total salary, right? And now I'll say show. So I got the total salary. Now how do I fix this? Now it is showing some random format. How should I fix this? Now, okay, till now I have walked you through how to do everything, like all these things. I walked you through. Now you have to help me how to solve this one. I don't know. Like you can use anything you want, documentation. But Gen AI tools, okay, you can use it, but again, it depends. Like if your company allows it or not. But in general, you help me to troubleshoot this.
Just
Do
a
we need to
thought.
cast?
Hmm?
Do we need to
Yeah,
apply cast?
yes, something like that. Yes.
Or if we can just mention type is equal to int, I think D type something that sort of we have in pandas.
Okay.
Just to while
Yes,
use.
yes. I mean, your overall logic is correct. That's how we'll do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is what you have to do. But in Pyspark, you have to figure out like what exactly is the syntax and logic, and then you'll be able to do it. Fine. So take this as like one part of your assignment. Let's go to the next question. Now, what is the next question saying? Okay, I think we are nearing the end of the time. Only 3 minutes we have. Okay, now what I will do is quickly. So now that you understood like how to solve them, right? Like we solved so far 7 questions. My suggestion is if you really want to get good at PySpark, like get hands-on, I will suggest you to solve all the questions which are part of assignment. So you have 31 questions, and you also have like another, you can say another 8 questions you have. So 8 plus 30, 31, almost 40 questions you can solve. So do you want me to take another session to walk you through everything, or will you do it on your own and submit that as an assignment in the group? Which one do you want to do? Like you can, let's say if you want me to take another session, type A in the chat box. If you want to submit that as an assignment, type B in the chat box.
Maybe we can do one thing, like till the next week we can work on this assignment, and maybe in the next week we can solve it together so that like we can check uh, how the answers are the.
Yeah, I think in the group also, I mean, in the chat also, we have mixed responses. What we can do is, so try to solve all the questions. So in the next session, we'll try to discuss. We'll try to like, it's like a doubt session where we can discuss.
Yeah, I think we are seeing more of A's. So because it is the first session, let us continue with solving the remainder. But people should be encouraged to solve it on their own and have it as a discussion. That's true.
Yeah. Okay, so fine. Now we are coming to an end. Now it is time for Q&A. Before Q&A, I would like to hear your feedback. Like, how did you feel about the session? Any room for improvement? Like, what challenges you are facing, or anything you want to share, you can share. Before we go to Q&A.
Right now?
Yeah, anything you want to share regarding this?
One thing I want to say, maza aa gaya.
Okay.
Honestly.
Can
Honestly.
somebody summarize what you learned during the session today?
One more thought, Sanjay. Like just my personal thought. Since I was pretty familiar with the pandas, NumPy, and all. If someone is totally new to any of these things, maybe that person can feel little unconnected, a little
Right,
bit.
right.
So yeah, because you started bang with the coding and everything.
Right.
So yeah, just from that ground, I'm saying rest it was pretty fine. I was just enjoying and learning the new syntax because I've never used PySpark via Jupyter. So my
Right.
next question was, do we
So
have any course on Udemy where which we can learn PySpark through Jupyter just because to know the syntax?
Yeah.
I never.
Instead of going to the Databricks and all, for now, given that we're running short of time or something.
we are not teaching Databricks here. The reason why we started PySpark was the audience was basically data engineers and some other people who have learned basics of Python. Uh, Many people, when they were appearing at the interviews, they said one of the challenges we are facing is we are unable to solve or understand how PySpark works. So the whole idea was to start a program, a mini program in the form of case studies where people get comfortable, people begin to practice, people understand the art of debugging, people understand how to work without GenAI. Because interviewers typically, when people go and take interviews, the sometimes people will be asked in an interview, okay, like Sanjay said, hey, now I have this error. Suppose they show you a code and they say, here's where the error is. Can any one of you fix it, or can you fix it? And at that point of time, they'll say, well, you don't have GenAI or
Exactly.
any other tool.
Yes.
So that was the whole idea why we started. Of course, some people will have knowledge of pandas and Python and stuff, and majority of the people won't have it. So it's a mixed audience, which is why we started with basics. But we'll not go down to like what is Python, and we'll not go down to absolutely that level.
Okay,
Yeah.
here I want to pitch in and talk about one thing. So how many of you have one book called Chronicles of Data Detective? I think some of you may not have that book. Like, how many of you have that PDF? Oh, okay, you don't have. Okay, so that's the reason why there is a disconnect. So the whole point of having this session is, so let me unshare and reshare. Just give me one moment. So I think that's where I will just showcase that. I'll just take another 5 minutes of your time, just by walking you through that book. So basically, it's a very interesting one. So I'll just download it from cloud, and I will just, this is something I'll just give you an overview of like why we started this Pyspark session in the first place. Okay, let me share my screen. So this is like the whole point of this session is to have some fun along with learning. Let me share my screen. Yeah. Yes, sir. You want to say something?
No, so some people, thank you for bringing this up, Sanjay. So, guys, the group that we have, Chronicles of Data Detective, it has lots of notes. Some of you may have joined a little later. We'll make sure that all the notes are reshared with you so that you understand. So, I think Sanjay is describing Chronicles of Data Detective, how the case study started.
So one complaint which a lot of people give me is like learning Pyspark is boring. It's like a very dry subject. So what I did was I see generally, since I come from MBA background, I like to solve with case studies. I mean, case studies will make it interesting for anyone to solve things. Like if you just give, okay, some like 2 data frames, if someone gives and if someone asks you to solve, it can be a little boring. So that's the reason why I always go through a case study approach. So what I did was, in order to make Pyspark learning more interesting, so I have built this book. It's free. I mean, it's free. I mean, it's open. Already it is shared to everyone. So there are like total 6 case studies which are there. So each case study will talk about one particular problem, what happened. So these are like, you can say like James Bond or like spy thrillers. So for example, the first case is related to a Heist, Uffizi mystery. So basically what happens in this is a painting will get stolen, and then you have some log entries, some profiles, security clearance files and everything. So you'll go through them and you have to find out who has actually done that crime. So you'll try to match the date and timestamp. Then you'll try to match who has entered which room, who has security clearances, who doesn't have security clearances. So using Pyspark, you'll try to find who is the thief. So this is like the first case. Second case is something which happens in UN, United Nations. So it happens in Geneva, and here there will be a power shortage which will happen, and suddenly you can say a chip will get stolen, like from the briefcase, and during that time you'll try to see who has actually, during the 12 minutes blackout, you'll try to see who has actually stolen that. There you will have power logs, access logs, metadata of camera, all these things you'll be having. And then you will try to use ingestion, joins, filtering, aggregation. Then you will try to see who is the thief. Next case is passenger list. So there will be a transcontinental maglev rail line. So there what happens is there is a sudden miss, like some accident will go just miss. Then what will happen is they'll go and investigate. Like investigators will go and investigate. They'll try to get the data, like sensor data, signals data, crew communications. They'll go and see and try to find who actually has done this crime. Like, so it is like basically it's like you are a detective, you are a forensic analyst, and you have different situations. So each case study happens in different location. Like then there is one case study on the casino. Like there is one person who will be winning things impossible, statistically impossible. Like you'll try to find out who has actually, I mean, what kind of hack he's doing, like what pattern you can do with metadata, and then you'll try to check the game logs, biometrics. So everything is related to forensics, you can say. And then there is one case study on Antarctica. So in Antarctica, someone will insert some fake data, and you have to, like a fake event they'll create, and you have to identify, you have to go back, trace and see who has tampered with the data with the terminal ID. So like that, there are different scenarios which you can solve. So when I shared this book, people are like, but I don't know Pyspark and all. So that's the reason this session is conducted. So if you are interested, you can solve this book. Like you can go through the cases and try to solve these cases. It's very interesting. You can say different scenarios,
So
like a spy thriller.
So the idea was learn the concepts through the case studies and
Yes,
make
it's
it
free.
interesting and fun.
Yeah.
And because some people had suggested they want to learn some basics, so that's why we thought we will warm up people with couple basic sessions, and then we'll start with the case studies. And through these case studies, you'll be able to learn simple concepts and make it fun.
Yeah, exactly. We don't want like dry sessions. We want something like interesting storytelling, like some plot will be there, and you'll be doing a role play where you'll be acting as a forensic analyst or maybe as a data analyst, and then you will try to solve these mysteries using Pyspark.
I have a question. Not question. I have an idea which I want to share actually.
Okay.
So I need your suggestion. So
Okay.
Sanjay, when I was learning SQL and I was practicing, it became so funny for me. Okay.
Right.
And when I was getting the calls, like I can remember I got a call from Whatfix. Okay. And they gave
Right.
me a few problems, and they told me that you can use DAX or you can use SQL to solve this problem. So I was in my mobile phone and I was in my office, and I told them that can I solve this from my mobile phone? So they agreed. So it was a Google Docs, and I was solving the most complex thing, which is let's say there is a question. Okay, it is easy in SQL, but it is hard in DAX. So I solved it. Okay, like that. So they were impressed. But here I can recall. So okay, the one guy said that I'm not from the pandas or a Python background, so it will be hard for me. For him, I want to say that I never use pandas as well. Okay, but I'm strong in SQL. Okay, but when I'm like you suggested me that you just learn. Okay, learn by doing. Okay,
Right.
because you can't determine your gaps. When you will do, then you will determine your gaps. Then you can fill it. Okay.
Right.
So based on that, when I'm getting an idea. Okay, so the idea is like when I'm gonna go for the interview, they will ask the Spark cluster and different things. Okay, so I must know those ideas, right? Those
Right.
concepts. And
Right.
second thing, they will do the machine test where I have to practice. So
Correct.
like I used to practice SQL, I have to practice this. And second thing
Correct.
is like the architecture will be different there. Like you did a simple join, there will be big data, so you have to use broadcast
Correct.
join or something.
Right.
So
Right. You have
this
to,
is
yeah.
a little bit different. So what do you think? My idea and my thinking is correct or not?
Yeah, it is. See, at the end of the day, everyone has a different motivation, right? Different way to get motivated. So everyone has different thought process. So my suggestion is there is no like fixed way of learning. See, for me, I like storytelling. I want a scenario based so that it will be interesting for me to solve. So
Yeah.
so some people are like, no, I don't want to go through case studies. I'll just solve like a question bank. I'll keep solving. So it's like different for different people. So yeah, there is nothing right or wrong. It's an open-ended thing, right? Yeah.
The important thing we are trying to teach here is how to think through the problems.
Correct.
Regardless of whatever mechanics you use, it is important how to think and how to practice, how to learn the art of debugging. Those things we are trying to inculcate as a behavior in people. So people who follow this along throughout the sessions will learn something. And guys, please understand, this whole class, there are silly Udemy classes here and there, but the way we designed it, first of all, it's free. In the market, the people are charging up to 25,000 for just doing this, and those classes are pretty basic in nature, right? So if you participate, it is expected that you are sitting with your laptop free of distractions and you are working along with Sanjay, or at least practicing later on with the recording, so that you learn something. It is our desire to offer this to you free so that everybody learns something.
Yeah. Yes. So like this PDF, yeah, we'll be sharing. So this is the summary of the book. So these are the cases which are there. You can just read through. So in the meantime, if you have any Q&A, please let me know. Any other questions? Certificate for Pyspark specifically you don't have. There are some certifications for Databricks, like couple of certifications, but specific to only Pyspark, there are no certifications and such. And like Arun was telling earlier, I would like to add one point. When you go for any data engineering interviews, you are expected to share your screen and do live coding. For example, in some of my interviews, they gave me, it's a face-to-face interview, they gave me a blank A4 sheet and asked me to write code using pen and paper. So that is the level of expectations which a lot of organizations have, where you have to write code using pen and paper. So at that time, you will not have documentation, you will not have Gen AI tools, nothing will be there. On live, within 5 minutes or 10 minutes, you have to write and you have to showcase the result. I mean, you have to explain that code.
And you may notice that Sanjay stopped at couple places and said, help me here. How would you, what would be the first step I should take? So that art of thinking was very important. Sometimes in the interviews, you may not remember the syntax, and to a hiring manager or to a recruiter, that's sometimes okay. You have to be able to at least share your approach. The
Correct.
approach is more important than the actual answer. So you may come out of an interview and say, oh my god, my hopes are shattered, I may not pass because maybe my answer was not perfect, I was not able to solve it. But you will still get marks for the approach, which is why Sanjay kept on asking you in between, tell me about your approach, don't worry about the syntax, don't worry about the errors.
Yeah. Yes.
So, Arun, Sanjay,
Yeah.
is there any certification related to learn about these approaches, methodology, and frameworks in this data engineering field?
Databricks.
Databricks is there. Databricks certification is there. Then you have
So
Azure certifications are there. Databricks certification is there.
So they are sort of technical tools certification, right? I'm just learning about Databricks and I will be good at Databricks. But what about that thinking to the problem, like
That,
solution builder perspective?
so that is see, that is the whole reason why I always take a case study approach. So only when you keep solving cases, you will be getting that thought process, how to, like, you will get the problem solving skills. Like for example, for one problem, there can be multiple solutions, like multiple approaches. So when you go for an interview, the expectations will be different for different levels of experience. Let's say if you go as a senior data engineer, the kind of answers they expect you will be at one level. Let's say you go as a lead data engineer, it will be next level. So for any scenario they give, as a lead data engineer, you're expected to give 3 to 4 solutions, and then you have to give, then you have to give the approach for this 3 to 4. Let's say if you are going as an architect, then not only you have to talk about 4 different ways to solve it, you also have to give pros and cons. Okay, in which scenario, which of these solutions is actually helpful. So it again depends on your seniority as well. For a, let's say if you are a junior data engineer, less than 3 years of experience, then if they ask a question, if you are able to solve it, they'll be okay. Even if you say, okay, I don't know the other approach, it is okay. But that is not acceptable if you are at a senior or lead or a architect level. So when you talk about problem solving skills, the difference between someone who goes to a lead or an architect level versus someone who stays as a senior data engineer is the problem solving skills. That is the differentiating factor. Because at the end of the day, whether it's an architect or it's a data engineer, the Pyspark will remain same. But but why does one person becomes a lead or an architect and one person remains as a senior developer is the understanding the situation and suggesting a solution. And when you suggest a solution as well, you have to think multiple angles. For example, let's say I want to build a recommendation engine, or let's say I want to build targeted advertisement service. Now there it's a very big project. Now in that project you will be playing one particular role. Maybe you're playing the role of a data engineer or DevOps or MLOps, or you'll be playing the role of a data scientist. So you need to understand the big picture. So it comes with experience. One, it comes with experience. Second thing is, like when you work in only one company or any specific, like there are some people who work for same client, same company for X number of years. There you will be in a bubble. You may face only limited number of scenarios. Some people will have a diversified experience. They'll be working on multiple projects, multiple clients, multiple scenarios, and outside also they'll be learning, general upskilling. So that approach is very, very important. Like it depends on how ambitious you are, what is your target role, how fast you want to get promoted. All these things will come into picture.
Okay. Thank you.
Certificates actually not show your approach. Recently I cracked DP600 Fabric. That is for certification. That is a validation that I am a Fabric analytic engineer. But to showcase my approach, I have done a project, so they can see my project. Also, I have to prove my approach in the interview. This is the summary of your question.
See, what I have done is, I don't know how many of you seen my website. Wait, I'll just
I've seen.
So this is my website. I built a portfolio, right, for data engineering. Now, whatever we did in the Chronicles of Detective, this is like beginner. This is like, you can say, beginner to intermediate, you can say, all these cases. So there is another case book which I have built where 5 of those cases I have already solved. So if you see, I have these are all like case studies which I created for myself, like for my own learning and understanding. So here I have given like what is the case about, what is the problem statement, solutioning. Then I have given all the screenshots, everything. So this is related to ADF, the first one. The third one is related to Databricks actually. There I have used Pyspark. So here you can see bronze layer, then slowly changing dimension, type to implementation, parameterization, fact table creation, gold layer aggregation, optimize and Z ordering, Unity catalog, assigning different roles. So all these things I have showcased. So it again depends on what role you are targeting. So whatever portfolio I built, like what you are seeing here, this is something which is built for lead or an architect level. So let's say if you are in a senior data engineering or a junior data engineering role, then probably you don't have to add this much of complexity. So that is what it is going to be. That is how it is going to be.
That's helpful, Sanjay. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Hi, Sanjay sir. This is Amir.
Hey, hi, Amir.
Yes,
After a long time.
yes. Yeah. So since I'm new in PySpark, can you please help to show the roadmap how to learn the PySpark? Means I mean to say, what else library do we have to learn in Python?
Don't say that, Amir. We were batchmate in a show's batch. Don't say that.
Yes.
No, I will. So there is something which Haruna and I are working on related to that only. So there it will also cover little bit on PySpark as well.
Yeah, we'll share a holistic
take
answer
time, little bit time it
in
will
probably
take.
next session. Yeah. So and see, guys, this word roadmap is becoming very fancy. What is a roadmap for this? What's a roadmap for? Forget the roadmap. Start somewhere. So right now, I would like you to just focus on one class, one session at a time. Start practicing. So Amir, I would expect that whatever was taught today, even if you do just the 7 questions, say I was tired after doing my second question, that's okay. Even if you study half an hour or 1 hour, that's fine. Come back for the next session and slowly progress with it, and you will when you do 2 or 3 sessions, you will be defining the roadmap for us. You will realize that, and we will be helping you with holistic answers. Some of the people may not have been able to offer comments or ask questions. They will be able to digest it later. And that is why we have the group where you can ask pretty much anything related to what we are teaching or talking about, which is Pyspark for now. But of course, we've had other kind of questions coming up which are related to it, like data engineering questions. So we are answering those. Sanjay and I are answering those questions as well. And we will take the help of, we are not alone, guys, because we realize that a lot of people in the group know a little bit of Pyspark. So if there is somebody who knows Pyspark, they have to put their names forward so that we can take their help. We have to work at it collectively, and we have to get better as a group in understanding PySpark and being able to address interview questions. Okay.
Yes, and here, when you talk about what to do next, first step will be to solve the remaining questions and also the assignment. So you have total for nearly 40 questions to solve. So I'm looking forward to see all your solutions, all those 40 questions, and also some conclusion, like what did you learn from solving all those. So that is what I'm expecting by the time we connect next time.
And guys, if you are not able to solve alone, it is okay to work with a buddy. For example, let's say Aishwarya is here, or Pavan Sai is here, or so talk to your buddies. You are not doing this all alone on an island. Talk to people. Say, hey, I got stuck here. Can you help me?
Yeah, you can form a group actually. Like,
yeah, form a group.
Like if you ask me, like if I'm in your place, what I would do is, so we have a group, Chronicles of Data Detective. So you can form a group of 2 or group of 3. Probably you can solve all the questions. Probably you can give a presentation on that, like how did you solve and everything together as a group, like a competition. So and we will try to see, okay, who is the winner for this case study. And you can even give a name for your team, like right, in competitions you'll form a team and the team name will be given. You'll assign yourself a name, and that, like, then you can come and present in a slots, like 10 minutes, like 5 minutes or 10 minutes slot will be given to you. You can present your case, and probably we'll have a judge, like a panel, like 3 people who will be assigning a score for each team, and then we'll declare one person as a winner. Again, it depends like how you want to. You can even go solo. If you don't want to participate as a team, you can even go as a solo as well. It depends on you, like how you want to work. But I recommend forming groups and teams, because in real life also you work always as a team. You don't do everything alone. So when you work as a team, then you have to coordinate, you have to communicate with each other, you have to help out each other, you have to talk to each other. So it will give you that real life experience, like how to coordinate and how to make sure that everyone is on the same page.
For the group link, Aishwarya will be sharing the group link, or anybody in the group that already has the group link can share with Mohit Solanki.
Yeah. Okay, I think we are now at 12:30. So, I mean, another 5 minutes is there. If you don't have any questions, we can wrap it up.
Sanjay, this was an excellent, insightful session. The way you did was simply brilliant, because the case study method is it's not the only method, but it's one of the best methods to learn concepts from beginner to intermediate level. And that's, we hope that this exercise, many people will actually participate and apply their thinking and learn something out of it. Because if people just watch it like a movie, nobody's going to learn. So guys, you have to help us. You have to help us grow. You can bring your friends to the class, whosoever is learning, wants to learn about it, and take the advantage while it is still free for you. Also, guys, if you hold on, guys, if you're looking for additional guidance or additional, like let's say some people say, I want to have a book on Pyspark. We'll offer you some additional PDFs, but don't. Many people get into the habit of hoarding material and books and YouTube and Udemy and whatnot. but they never get to practice. So if you do nothing but follow each class and practice what has been taught, ask questions to us and to your buddies in the group, that's the best way to learn. Yeah, Nilay, what were you saying?
Actually, I was in the last few weeks. Actually, my thought process has been changed because of you, your push and Sanjay's push. So what I realized that let's take an example. If I finish this assignment, at least I'm gonna from 0 to at least 1%, right? After a few weeks, because I have practiced something and I know a little bit about Pyspark. So fixing a roadmap is a trap for me. At least this is what I realized.
So number one, we didn't push you at all. We only gave a touch of the smallest finger yet. So as we go along, as we see the part, how are you partnering with the class? How are you doing? And as we
Yep.
go along, we'll nudge you in the right direction.
But at least I learned something, right? At least I practiced something. At least I know something. So if I follow to learn and then practice then and doing projects, so this is I think a trap. If I just watch the videos and all every time without practicing it. This is
Exactly,
what I
and
realized.
this is the feeling of the community which Sanjay keeps talking about. We want to develop a feeling of a community where everybody is sharing and caring for each other and learning from each other, right? We all will
Yeah.
get there. We all will get better. Even if we get better 1%, that's the whole idea. So guys,
Yep.
if you guys have any materials, please feel free to share. Please feel free to ask any questions in the group. Feel free to share whatever materials you have. We'll all be benefiting from it. Having said that, I think Sanjay, it's time to wrap up. Thank you for such a wonderful session. And guys, I want to thank all of you. Kudos to all of you for taking the time on your weekend to at least showing up for the class. Sanjay and I believe that showing up to the sessions is the first important step. So you have taken that. Kudos to you guys. With that, and thank you to Prem for scheduling this session. Thanks a lot, Aishwarya and Prem.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Yes, and if any of you are in Hyderabad, there is a meetup which is going to happen next month. I don't know how many of you are here from Hyderabad, but I'm just letting you know. Okay.